What is the worst thing that is legal? I'm just gonna have to say little girls' beauty pageants. It just doesn't sit right with me. And not only because of the fact it's creepy, but I feel like it's stressful on the kid and on their body image. Oh my god, yes. This 100% horrifying shit. College book prices and practices. Change a few words in a math book. That'll be another $100 please. Oh, you realized that you can use the book from 10 years ago and succeed. Actually, we require you get the new book. Oh, you realized you can get the book cheaper from a friend? Actually, we are doing online books now, and you need the personalized code. We change it every year, even though there have been no breakthroughs in this subject. Knowing the college struggle, I have no ducking clue how this is allowed to exist. It should literally be illegal. Even worse when professors say you need a certain textbook in a few weeks, then they never actually use it. Worst $80 I have ever spent. Or when you buy a required text for a B-term CL but before the semester starts, leave it in the shrink wrap to be opened when CL but starts only to find out it isn't going to be used at all. And when you try to return it in mint condition with the original shrink wrap, you only get a 50% bookstore credit on a $150 book. K. The fact car radio commercials are allowed to have police sirens or car crashes in them as a way to get your attention. As someone who survived a car crash with back damage, I shudder when those ads come on. Like, imagine how someone else who got into a much worse accident would feel. People who have been in accidents don't need a reminder of what it sounded like. The size of the X button on pop-up ads. X buttons that do nothing. Or X buttons on mobile that take you to the link anyway. Data caps on home internet. We have a 120 GB data cap for a family of 6. In lockdown, the provider had a promotion where everyone got unlimited data, including us. We have tried to upgrade to an unlimited plan, but they gave some BS excuse about how the server traffic is clogged, like it was completely fine for the promotion. I'm 99% sure they know we always pay extra for data after we run out and don't want us to save money by upgrading. Edit. I appreciate everyone suggesting me to tell the provider to shove it, but I failed to mention that I'm 15 and that's up to my parents. I don't give a shit. You offered a promotion and I want it. Isn't that called bait and switch or something? Sounds illegal. Robocalls. Bothering someone with something they paid for. And now I'm getting robo-texts several times a day. I really have to get around to buying that extended car warranty. FYI, they may be getting your information directly from your service provider. For a long time I was getting spam texts and calls addressed to a different name. That always confused me, until I updated some info at my service provider and realized that was the name my number was under. They didn't get it from some rando website. They got it straight from my service provider. Also, rumors that the DMV will also sell people's information for this kind of stuff. Caller ID spoofing. Somebody spoofed my number and my name came up on the caller ID apparently. I got a text from some irritable person demanding why I was harassing them. I tried to explain what spoofing was, but they sent me the screenshot of my name on their caller ID and asked if it was me. I imagine this person googled me and did all kinds of shit and decided I was a bad person in this. I feel like my privacy was totally violated. In that case, I feel like the victim on the other end is the actual spoofer. I can't prove it, but they always seem the most upset over phone calls when they can just easily block you. One time someone called from out of state and said they had missed calls from me. I told them I don't know, man. It's probably that robocall bullshit. Just block my number. I hung up and blocked their number. Selling textbooks at ridiculous prices, or selling a new copy every year with no significant change. The true crime. Buying a book for $300 and 6 months later it's worth $50. Spice/cater/synthetic weed. This may have changed in the last few years, but I found it embarrassing that our country locks up thousands for actual marijuana, but allowed that shit to be sold at every gas station and liquor store, knowing damn good and well that it was hurting and killing people. It was finally banned here, Japan, and then it became a black market drug. Of all the brain dead stupid, the only reason to try spice was that it was a legal alternative to illegal drugs. The shit's horrible. and everyone I know, myself very much included, sooner or later had a very, very bad experience on it. Why would anyone risk breaking the law for a drug that is neither addictive nor fun? My uncle had a seizure while smoking that shit. We were smoking together and he suddenly stopped mid-sentence. I thought he was just ducking with me at first. Then his wrists started twitching. Then the twitching spread to the rest of his body. Then he just straight up fell out of his chair and laid on the ground convulsing. I went running inside to grab my aunt, got in the doorway, and promptly dropped in a dead faint. I woke up to my friend screaming and sobbing and shaking my shoulders trying to get me to come to. I had known her for like 12 years at that point, but at first, I didn't know who she was. She just looked vaguely familiar. My uncle and I both ended up being fine. Scary shit though. Socks, fits size 6 to 12. Bullshit. Also unrealistically low serving sizes on packs of crisps or candy. They do this just so they can put the number of calories / fat / sugar per serving as a lower number. Hearing a honking sound in a radio commercial, or sirens. Some car insurance radio commercial had the sound of a ducking car crash. You can look up where anyone lives because it's public record. But can we please not have entire websites with databases full of every person in the country? Question mark. I mean, think about people who get denied restraining orders and try to move away from their abuser. 6 months later, and their abuser can just look up their name and find them all over again. This could be detrimental for spouse abuse victims, stalking victims, etc. Something should be done about them. It's terrifying. In some states you have to legally notify your attacker, the person you have a restraining order against, where you live, so they know to avoid it. That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard of. Impossibly hard to cancel subscriptions. It should be law that you can cancel the same method you used to sign up. I think California might actually have a law like this. Putting unrelated crap into bills to sneak it into law. I know they are supposed to follow some kind rules related to germaneness, but they clearly don't, and clearly need actual laws with actual punishments for pulling this crap. Marital rape and honor killings in countries like the one I live in, generally the Middle East, most of that stuff is in the process of being banned now, thank God. When I was in middle school / high school, they tried to introduce a law that said a girl must be 18, I think, to be married. The men of the government and religious officials objected so hard that the law got thrown out. This was the year after the story came out about that one 9-year-old kid that was forced into a marriage and the man would chain her and whatnot. What the actual F? Sometimes I don't understand humanity. Civil asset seizure by police, no crimes needed. Multi-level marketing. But don't you want to be your own boss babe for life by sharing and distributing ardetics nutrition drinks that give you 6 of your 5 a day /s? This whole acting like they're doing the person a favor is why MLM will never die out. At best it'll rebrand as something else. That's why it's been going on thousands of years. I mean, even the ancient Egyptians had pyramid schemes. Sweet shop labor outsourced by tech and Fortune 500 companies. It's essentially contemporary slavery we collectively allow. But a whole dinner set at Walmart for only $9.95. A parent keeping their kid from the other parent when there's no good reason to, and leveraging the courts to do it. This enrages me so much. How many parents have practically lost their children to narcissists and psychopaths because of this? And because the kids get brainwashed out of a relationship, it's hard to ever get in touch again, even when they have grown out of the other one's reach. Edit. I get teary-eyed both with remembered grief and a little bit of hope from all your comments. Thank you. Keep raising awareness about parental alienation, full custody, unfair laws, etc. The world will hopefully get better someday. Sorry to get personal, but this is a big one for me. My ex got primary custody based on a domestic violence accusation that supposedly happened while she was on the phone with her sister, who served as a witness. Of course, the police showed up and concluded that no violence had occurred. The court believed her version of the events over mine, in spite of a police report concluding no domestic violence, and I lost custody of my kids. After I was in court, I compared the police report with my phone records. My ex called the police before she called her sister, meaning the entire episode was pre-planned. Edited to add, this comment unexpectedly received a lot of attention. No, this was never corrected, and there is no legal way for me to do so. My lawyer says the only way to go back to court and win is to prove that my ex is a danger to the kids' safety, which probably won't ever happen. In lieu of all of that, I simply focus on being the best dad that I can be with the time that I get with my kids. They will be minors for only their first 18 years, whereas I'm their dad forever. Scam calls and solicitation calls. I swear they used to be illegal at one point. Scam calls are not legal, they just know how to not get caught. Not the worst thing, but it used to be illegal for commercials on TV to be louder than the actual show, but not any longer suddenly. Honestly, all of TV and movies seem to have gotten shitty recently with their audio levels. It seems even in every movie I watch now you can't hear them while they're talking, but explosions are louder than actual explosions. TV and cinema need to learn about normalizing their audio. I get it, you want an action scene to be loud and intense, but I also want to be able to watch a movie with the wife without waking my 6-year-old up. I learned recently that you might be able to fix this by adjusting your TV settings. Some TVs have a clear voice or similar that makes voices louder. The troubled teen industry. Parents pay a company to kidnap kids while they're sleeping and send them off to therapeutic boarding schools where they are abused in every conceivable way. It's fucked. Wait, what? My brain is so confused. This exists? Like, sure. Troubled teen boarding school. Probably a super fucked place, but whatever. I get how it can exist. It's that kidnapping part I'm pretty confused by. Being penalized for calling out sick from work. Edit. Even while the whole world is trying to survive this pandemic, we're still dealing with this major issue by employers. I work in healthcare, and I feel like I get shamed by my managers and coworkers when you call out, especially when you work night shift. I once worked at an Old Navy for a few months. I was one of their best workers and all the managers, there were like 6, loved me, but I got sick and had to call out for just 2 days. 2 days. And the scheduling manager gave me 6 hours a week for months after. I couldn't afford to eat for months because she was punishing me for being sick for 2 days. Even the other managers would question why I wasn't working as much, and I'd just shrug and tell them to ask the scheduling manager. I eventually had to quit and move states to go back to live with my parents because, even with free housing, living with a very generous friend, I couldn't afford to live on my own. That's crazy. The trade blockade over Naboo. But what about the droid attack on the Wookiees? Good relations with the Wookiees I have. Child marriage. To tack on. Child marriages and where they cannot legally divorce until they are 18. Found out the other day. Excuse me? Exclamation mark. So you're saying they can be tricked/forced/ etc. into marriage, but they aren't considered competent enough to get out. That is an extra layer of fucked up. Ed up. Congress members being able to trade stocks at the same time they are receiving intelligence and passing laws that could affect the performance of said stocks. This isn't legal. They're just never actually held accountable, which makes it even more infuriating. Old legally blind folks driving cars. There was a resident in my old condo building that had some sort of restriction on his license that he couldn't drive more than a certain distance from the condo. He'd pull out in front of people. He'd stop in the middle of the road. He was way past needing to not be allowed to drive. I don't get how they allowed him to drive within that distance. It takes more than knowing where the roads are to be able to drive. Being forced to fork up your personal data and access to everything in your phone to use a stupid app that makes a picture of your dog sing. It should not be allowed at all. Edit. This applies to many apps. I didn't have just one in mind. Going to agree and edit. Having to provide your phone number or email for anything at all that is unnecessary. Sometimes you want to access a site or read an article, but you can't because they require you to sign up or something. Super lame. I just don't do it then. Also understand why, but getting tired of these sites that advert 10% off your first order when you sign up for our newsletter. Apostrophe. Civil asset forfeiture. It is un-American. Legalized theft. Political action committees. 10 years later. It's exactly what people feared. It's so much worse. For-profit prisons. I used to lobby at the state level. For-profit prisons would literally lobby against things like early child education and paid family leave because, well, it's bad for business. And to be clear, I did not lobby for private prisons, but did lobby for things like paid family leave and early childhood education. WTF. That is some next level dystopian bullshit right there. This makes my blood boil. Advertisements for prescription medicine help patients lie to their doctors. I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. There was a commercial I saw a year ago to help women with endometriosis. I have it and exhausted all other options to help with the pain. The drug that was advertised I brought up to my gynecologist, and it ended up saving me from being in so much pain every day. I also could stop my opioids. I don't have endometriosis, but for some reason I really needed to hear a story like this. I'm so glad you found something that works for you. Groom your stepdaughter for over a decade. Then when she's 18, divorce her mom and hook up with your stepdaughter. This sounds more like a step-by-step tutorial than an answer. Step 2. Cover yourself in stepdaughter. Co-workers that don't shower. Coworkers that don't flush the toilet. Coworkers that piss on the seat and don't clean it off. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.